Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and today I'm going to be doing the Literary Dinner Party book tag. I was tagged for this by Lady Jane over at Lady Jane Books, so I will leave a link to her channel in the description below. I tried to do this tag yesterday and it just was not flowing for me. I tried and I just kept getting madder and madder. So I'm like, okay, just put it aside, come back to it, and you should be okay, all right? So I feel better about it today. Anyway, there are 9 questions or 9 prompts, whatever you want to call it, plus the guest list. And of course, the guest list is going to be who I tag to do the tag itself. Anyway, let's go ahead and get underway. So the first thing we're going to do is the guest list. So who am I going to tag for this? I'm going to tag Jason at Jason's Weird Reads. I'm going to tag Cameron Chaney. I'm going to tag Josh at Working Man Reads. I'm going to tag Juan at Plagued by Visions. I'm going to tag Lydia at Typical Books Horror Fiction, Regina St. Clair at Regina's Haunted Library, and I'm going to tag Lady Jane. And I know she's done the tag already, but you know what? I just think it would be impolite to not invite her to my literary dinner party, all right? So let's go ahead and get underway with this. So first thing is, when you are at a dinner party, do you ask people what they are currently reading? If not, why not? Have you received any great recommendations at a dinner party for a new book to read, or had an especially interesting bookish conversation there? Most of the people that I know don't read the same kind of things that I read. Most people that I know, they don't read horror. You know, so usually I don't ask them for recommendations, and they don't ask me what I'm reading, because it's just like two worlds clashing together. I mean, it could be like something like, oh, what are you reading? Well, I'm reading Sybil. You know, what's it about? Oh, it's about a girl with multiple personalities. You know, and I go, oh, okay. That sounds kind of cool, you know. Well, it is. It's a good book. Oh, what are you reading? I just finished one called Dead Inside. Oh, really? What's it about? It's about a guy that has sex with dead people and a woman that eats dead people. Yeah. And then this glazed 1,000-yard stare comes to their faces, and that's the end of it. So that's why I just don't ask, and they don't ask me. So anyway, number 2. Which authors, living or dead, would you invite to a dinner party? So I got 3 authors. 2 of them I'm going to name at the same time. And then the other one, and the first one I'm going to name is Stephen King. Because I just feel like it would be really fun to have a conversation with Stephen King. Not just about books. You know, I don't want to ask him about his writing process or anything like that. I actually think it would be fun to talk to him about horror movies. You know, just to get his feel for different movies and stuff. Ask him, hey, how did you like this movie? How did you like this movie? Why didn't you like this movie? And stuff like that. So that's the reason I think I would be a lot of fun to talk to Stephen King. And also ask him about what he thought for real about some of the adaptations of his movies, because I think sometimes he's just being a little bit too nice about them. All right? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just a feeling I get. All right, and the 2 deceased authors that I would invite would be Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft. And the reason being is because I would love to sit in on a conversation between these 2 giants, these 2 titans of horror fiction, all right? Both of them had different styles. H.P. Lovecraft was the father of cosmic horror, and he's influenced so many different authors over the years. And Edgar Allan Poe, you could probably say he's the father of Gothic horror or goth fiction, maybe. It's been said that he's the father of modern detective fiction or the detective novel. So here these two have a conversation, just talking about the people they've influenced, talking about their own works and everything. That would just be outstanding. All right, I would just be there. I'd bring popcorn. I'd just like sit and eat popcorn and listen to them talk or something. I'm kidding. I wouldn't eat popcorn. That would be rude at a dinner party, and I don't want to be rude. All right. So next question is number 3. Which characters would you like to invite? I had to really think about this one. It didn't take long, but I had to really think about it. So the first character I would invite would be Dr. Hannibal Lecter. You know, and I know a lot of you sitting there going, why would you invite him to a dinner party? Because he could help me cook the dinner. I mean, and I'm not saying he's going to be cooking people or anything like that, but you got to remember, he is a very accomplished gourmet chef. He's a very intelligent man, and it would be great to share a meal with him and have a conversation with him. All right? And I'm pretty sure that he is capable of eating a meal that is not human. So there you go. That's my answer. Dr. Hannibal Lecter for 1. Then I would invite the vampire Genevieve Dupree from the Anno Dracula series. Why? Because first of all, Genevieve is a very charming French woman by the name, but I would assume she is French. Let's see, she was turned into a vampire when she was 16, but she's lived a life of 500 years. So, I mean, she is just, I believe she's wise beyond her years, all right? And I think it would be very interesting to have her at my dinner party, all right? Okay, next up, I would invite, and I joked with my wife that I told her that if I invite this guy, I would have to invite Professor Lupin from the Harry Potter series, because Professor Lupin is a werewolf. And I'm going to invite the werewolf hunter, Sylvester Logan James, from the Autobiography of a Werewolf Hunter trilogy, the first of which is When the Autumn Moon is Bright. Sylvester Logan James is an individual who is full of absolute hatred for werewolves. His father was killed by a werewolf, so he just was, and he was trained by his uncle, I believe his uncle, or maybe his grandfather, Michael Winterfox, to become a werewolf hunter. And in these books, this series of books, he goes up against all kinds of werewolves, some that are more mystical and more spiritual than others, some that are just nasty, mean, slobbering, horrible creations. In other words, these are not your daddy's werewolves. So I think it would be fun to just sit at a table with him and go almost like a, I don't know, I would almost feel like a little kid asking like Batman or somebody, could you beat this guy, or could you beat this guy, or whatever, you know, it'd be like, what about the werewolves in The Howling? Could you beat them, you know? Really? Okay, all right. How about the werewolves in American, the werewolf in American Werewolf in London? What about him? Or in Dog Soldiers? How about the werewolves in the books, the Bain County series? How about the ones in The Pack? I mean, just see if he could just say, yeah, I could take him, I could do him and everything. I would probably just talk the guy's ear off anyway. And last but not least, I would have to invite Count Dracula, just because this is my absolute favorite of the old school horror novels from way back when. I love this more than Frankenstein, love it more than Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I love all those books, I do. I need to reread Frankenstein though, because that was the one that I had the most trouble struggling with getting through, and I'm not saying it was a bad book, but it's just the way it's written, it's really kind of dry, alright? But yes, I would just have to invite Count Dracula, because no dinner party is complete without the Count, alright? Let's see, question number 4. Have you ever wanted to invite a historical figure after reading a biography or autobiography about that person? And who would it be? Historical figure. You know, I've really never read that many books about way back when historical figures. Most of the biographies and autobiographies that I read are rock and roll biographies, so, And so we're including living or dead. So I'm going to do that. Of course, I would love to invite, you know what? The one, I thought about it because I thought, well, I'd love to invite Bruce Springsteen, you know, and that would be great. Warren Zevon, yeah, that would be great too. But I think the one that I would love to invite the most would be Kate Bush. All right, because here's a woman that has had this long, pretty nice little discography of albums, and yet she's pretty much unknown here in America. But in Britain and overseas, I mean, she's just pretty much a legend, and with good reason. Her music is just absolutely fantastic. I would just love to just pick her brain, you know, because she's been around since, I think I first saw her on an episode of Saturday Night Live back in the 70s, and that was her only televised appearance in the United States. She's never done a tour in the United States, and she's only done 2 tours. One of them was like 30-something years after the first one. You know, she's a very private person, and I just think it would be wonderful to have her at my dinner party. So there you go. My answer is Kate Bush. All right, number 6. Here we go. Number 5, excuse me. What would you serve at one of these parties from questions 2 to 4? Oh, wow. Or perhaps what would one of your literary guests bring if you hosted a potluck? I thought about that. So if I invited these people, Count Dracula, I would have him bring blood pudding. You know, it's a British dish. I'm not really sure what's actually in blood pudding, but just having Count Dracula bring blood pudding, I just think that would be cool. All right. Sylvester Logan James, I get a feeling that when he's not hunting werewolves, he would probably be a pretty damn good hunter. So bring some venison. All right? Some venison, some bear meat or something like that. You know, put it however you want to fix it up, but bring some of that. Let's see, who's the other person I am? Genevieve Dupree, a French dish. Bring some escargot. That would be great. That would be good. I've actually had escargot and I enjoyed it. You know, I know a lot of people out there going, I ain't eating no damn snails, but I enjoyed it. All right. So, and then last but not least, we would have Dr. Hannibal Lecter. You know what? I think those 3 things the other people are bringing, that would be good. That's good. Okay. In other words, you just have a good time, doctor. Anyway. All right. Okay. So, number 6. What is your favorite meal scene in a book? My favorite meal scene in a book. Well, usually my meal scenes in horror novels involve people who are the main course for the particular dinner scene. I just read one called Horror in the Woods, and there was quite an interesting dinner scene in that. As far as having a favorite, though, I don't really have a favorite. I've never really thought about dinner scenes per se as far as books are concerned. Now, movies, there's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You got to give that one. And, of course, if you notice, I use that as my thumbnail for this, or I will be using it. But literary, I can't really think of one just offhand. All right, so really not an answer for that one. Number 7. Dinner parties aren't the only times people share food and drink. Are there literary scenes you love where characters get together over brunch, afternoon tea, picnics, cocktail parties, etc.? Again, that's one of those I really never thought too much about as far as horror, because usually there is a pretty horrific reason for them getting together for these kind of things. One thing that comes to mind, and I don't remember if it's the same in the book as it is in the movie, but the dinner scene. Oh, that's it. Okay, I could name this one for this one in the previous question. The dinner scene between Clarice Starling, Hannibal Lecter, and Paul Krendler in the movie Hannibal, which I think is pretty much the same as in the book. And this is where Dr. Lecter takes off the top part of Krendler's skull, cuts off a piece of his brain, and then feeds it to him. Yeah, that'd be a favorite. So that's my answers for number 6 and number 7. And actually, there's only 8 questions. I'm sorry about that. And number 8, I'm going to just have to say number 8 is going to be the same thing as number 6 and 7. It's name one of your favorite cringe-worthy dinner party scenes in a book or adaptation. Yeah, it would have to be that scene in Hannibal, because that's pretty cringe-worthy. Trying to think if there's any other ones. Well, like I said, the scene in Horror in the Woods, because basically what they do is they just lay this guy out and just cut off chunks of him. That's pretty cringe-worthy right there. And they eat the guy right in front of them. They even, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, those are my answers. That is my literary dinner party, my answers for the literary dinner party book tag. I've already tagged some people at the beginning of this. So, see, when am I going to post this? I posted something already today. I'll post this tomorrow, Thursday. And thank you guys for watching, and take care and stay scared. All right? Bye-bye.